things can be wrong for different reasons.
So that raises questions too, in a couple ways. You could deal with it in this conceptual level, but then you would start to see people, even if we concluded that it was wrong to do. And by the way, there does actually end up being an interesting parallel on race on this, right? Because there were a lot of Christians, just like in the 1960s, that were incorrectly arguing that Acts 17 taught that interracial marriage was wrong. And they were arguing, that God set up, boundaries between the nations, and that interracial marriage was a threat to spiritual authority because it was disagreeing with God on that. I mean, this is all nonsense. Mm-hmm. It's racist, right? But that's what they said. And so then, the initial problem you have now is these interracial marriages, right? But the bigger problem that starts to come up for this theology is how you deal with these mixed offspring now, right? And that would happen here too. So then whatever we thought about it, we can be guaranteed that there will be still hybrid offspring presented at some point. So what do we do with those hybrids? I mean, they are human. They deserve rights and dignity, but do they
I would say, I mean, I'm using this only because of its familiarity, okay, this analogy. But just as we would, I think, argue well that animals, at least, I don't know that we want to exclude any, but let's just say higher forms of animals, we don't want to use words like rights, but they should be treated well. Okay? They shouldn't be treated in an abusive manner and so on. I mean, we can have those ethical conversations, and they make sense. So, that's certainly not inconceivable if you have products of these, hypothetical relationships, that we should look at them the same way, the offspring, and probably more, because they would have a rational. The closer they are to us, the more it makes sense for us to treat those individuals or those creatures well, and not just consider them at our disposal, regardless of the outcome and things like that. So that would make sense, to opt, that ethical standard.
Yeah, I mean, I think the puzzle then becomes how do we reconcile that then? If you're saying it's wrong to interbreed, but the products of those interbreeding we treat, I mean,
things can be wrong for different reasons, and the only reason you would assess something like that as wrong is if you were assessing the interbreeding capability, you were aligning that ability with creation order for humans. Okay, because again, if you're
humans on Earth,
right, if you're looking to articulate a biblical ethic, well, then logically you have to go to the Bible, and again, you've got a limited pool of data there. So the only thing you really have is the early principles in Genesis and the purpose for humanity, and all these sort of big picture, macro level, kinds of concepts and categories. But again, if that's all you have, then that's what you have to formulate your position on.